First of all, it was the York Hotel, and a lot of people who've been around London for a long time remember the York. There's books about it, there's all kinds of great stories. It was like this hotbed of music and artists and poets and authors. It was just a real hangout place. And the culture there was very unique, and people still talk about it with great fondness. So how these hotel bars mainly survived was the hotel part of it, renting out the rooms. They all had stables at the back. They served meals. They were often a place where salesmen would come and they'd set up and they'd show their wares. They were a place where people came to get their news. It's also been a hangout for students for a lot of years, and that's because of the music. This is a place where live music just thrives. I think anybody who loves music and loves live music and wants to hear different kind of bands would go to Call the Office.
Usually if I'm there, it's because I'm seeing a band there or I'm playing there. I've played there a bunch of times. It's kind of a rite of passage to play Call the Office, you know, for a local musician. For a very long time, it's been one of, if not the place to see touring bands at the club level in London.
It's a place where it helped shape kind of where my life is now. It's kind of an institute, I guess, in that sense of being able to create a lot of memories. For me, it kind of, you know, with all the bands that I've met that I wouldn't see that close nowadays, really kind of humbled me, I guess, in that sense.
We've met a lot of bands that you wouldn't have access to at larger venues like in Toronto, or if you're going to like big kind of festivals. You're more in touch with them at that venue because they're right in front of you and you have better access. We've grown and built a community that didn't exist before.
You walk into the place, all the photos are on the wall, right? All of the framed promo shots from bands. It's not just Radiohead, it's not just Blink-182. It's a who's who of Canadian rock bands from the last 30 years, for starters. And then you begin to look around and you're like, the history in this place is amazing.
I don't think it's changed a lot inside, to be honest with you. If you go in there and look at it, it looks like it's pretty much been the same way for a lot of years. Every bar has its own culture, and you can have a bar that is literally a block from another bar, but it will have a totally different feel, a totally different culture, a totally different kind of people that hang out there. The culture at the Richmond is really interesting. So it's very different. During the day, it's a very quiet kind of place where people come to sit and visit, and then at night, it's often too loud to even hear yourself think. It's a study in contrasts.
I was doing some entertaining at Call the Office, and you know, when you have doing a show and the prop goes wrong, well, that was at Call the Office. I had a prop that went wrong. It was where we take shark hooks, suspend them on top of the skin, and there's a chain to a big cement block. Well, the chain broke, and I had the shark hook go right through the wrist. Basically, from there, I kind of held my hand down. We then went to the hospital, and I got a 5-hour surgery, which was pretty fun. So they removed this hook. It was through my wrist like this. And there was 2 of them. This is the one I kept, and the surgeon got to keep the other one. And so that was quite the memory that I'll never forget. It's one I still haven't done that stunt since then. You know, Call the Office is the one I'll always have that one accident that I'll always remember. So.
Anybody I would take there has got to be a music lover because you're going to see a show. And it's like everybody who's played there, once you get inside that place and you begin to see the history, you're like, this is a special place, man. And so to get somebody to come, I'd say, do you want to be in one of the most famous venues in the country and be part of a really great and long story, then yeah, come to Call the Office.
I think one of the things that we heard that people who work there or have been there talk about is the ghost. And people love ghost stories, and there's this ghost apparently that haunts the place. Some people say that she was killed at Call the Office. Some people say that she wasn't, but her murderer went there for a good strong drink after he did his dastardly deed, and she followed him there, and she's haunted the place ever since. I just think it's kind of neat that we have all these ghosts floating around downtown London, and people love to hear about them.